Probably over.
Okay. Does that half check out?
I mean, it's okay.
It's okay.
Golly.
How far away are you until your next reward?
What happened to all the Waterworlds that were on top of there?
Great. There's some.
Oh, there's.
And then the
Hey!
Okay.
There's my prop. My prop for this week.
No, I'm not in the shot. You turned it.
Welcome back. Oh, right.
It's not all about you, man.
All right. Let's see if you can scoot over.
71. Locate offspring.
All right. Are you in? No. If you lean back, you're in.
Why don't you just turn it a little?
Well, because I set it up so that there was no like. See, look. The second I go like that,
There we go.
now there's. All right. It's minimal. What's up, David? How are you doing? Today, David, the book that we're on is Waterworld Volume 3, Xavier. Waterworld Volume 3 is Xavier. As we get closer to 6 o'clock, we're gonna see what happens. We had one of the kids. What's up, A-Train? One of the kids made bad choices today.
12-year-old meltdown.
12-year-old total meltdown. Like TMZ size meltdown. Like if there were cameras around and he was famous, he would never leave the tabloids for weeks. That kind of melt like Britney Spears shaves her head meltdown.
No, like 2-year-old meltdown. You know, 2-year-old. But 12-year-olds shouldn't act like that. So
like Britney Spears when she shaved her head.
I don't think he's gonna shave his head.
I'm just saying that was the level of
he does need a haircut.
public.
So.
Oh my gosh. Worse. All right, so let's dive in. This is Volume 3 of Waterworld. The big thing for anybody that's new that's joining us, the big thing is each of the characters gets to tell their own story, I guess, or Rachel gets to tell their story. They don't really get it's first person, so they're kind of
Xavier's not first person.
What?
Nope.
What? Well, I guess
this is third person.
I guess we'll start there. Okay, why is Xavier third person when all the rest of the series is in first person?
Because I felt that it was presumptuous to be a
black teenager.
Well, he's not a teenager. He's 20-something.
Is he?
To be a black man. I didn't want to own it as being like my truth. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. That was one of the questions I had in terms of asking you is, what made you go this direction? What made you choose Xavier? What kind of research was different in this book than the other research? Because this is somebody who's
it's mostly it's less research, more personal experience. So I grew up in Eastern North Carolina, in a small town-ish. I mean, the town was kind of like whatever you call it when something is annexed into a larger town. So our town
started out in the county.
Riverdale, yeah. We lived in the county, and of Riverdale, and Riverdale's technically part of New Bern. Actually has its own post office, but for whatever reason fell under the jurisdiction of New Bern. So New Bern's probably a town at that point of about maybe 40,000 people.
Pretty small.
Yeah, it's pretty small. It's about the size of, Burlington.
Definitely small.
And anyway, so I lived in Riverdale, which was way out in the country. And the neighborhood that was like right next to where I lived was a black neighborhood. Very poor. Very, I guess, not the projects, but a lot of the homes there were paid for by welfare. So
Section
they were
housing.
Yeah. So I rode the bus with
everybody,
lots of
from the neighborhood,
all kinds of rural kids and black kids. That's who rode the bus, or my bus that I was on. So I had a lot of experience with hearing them, hearing how they talked, seeing how they acted, and also just being in the neighborhood. My dad was friends with an old guy named Mr. Borden.
Mr. Borden.
Mr. Borden. There's actually, I want to say, do I call him Mr. Borden in here?
Oh, did you? So one of the characters is based off. That's not the old guy, is it?
No, you're Mr. Barkley, who is based off of a real person who is now dead. But the I don't think
you know the old dude I'm talking about, right? The one that's with Cassie. That I guess I don't know if they're living together.
Oh, Pierre, her cousin.
Oh, Pierre's her. I always got the impression that Pierre was older.
I mean, I never indicate whether he is or not. No, but this Miss. I think it's Miss. So it's Rayshawn, who is Xavier's younger brother. Learns how to make alcohol with the man who might be called Mr. Borden, but at least was based on Mr. Borden. I literally can't remember whether I called him Mr. Borden or not.
I can't even remember the part of the book you're talking about.
I think he's stuck.
He's stuck.
So the guy who taught Rayshawn how to make alcohol is based off of the Mr. Borden that I knew growing up, who used to come over to our house and like, it wasn't all the time. It was like maybe once a month he'd come over, and him and my dad would just like shoot the breeze for like hours, like about whatever. And my dad we slaughtered chickens. So we kept chickens for meat and eggs. And whenever we slaughtered the chickens, my dad always gave the chicken feet to Mr. Borden because we were white and we didn't eat chicken feet. But black people love chicken feet for some reason. I don't know. I've never had chicken feet. I don't know how what do you eat off of them?
You would just have to eat the foot, right?
Like, do you just chew this? I don't know. Someone can enlighten me what you eat off of a chicken's foot. But either way, Mr. Borden always wanted the chicken feet. And here we go. Yeah, this is exciting stuff.
Is that exciting pink with that teal and blue?
Yeah. So
That's dope.
that's who that character is based off. So I tried to base characters off of maybe not specific people, but most of the behaviors I observed directly. So I really didn't try to like invent anything that I hadn't already like seen in person. So that was, and that's why I wrote it literally in Eastern North Carolina, because I don't know anything about Black people in Chicago or Black people in Iowa or Black people in California or Black people in Arizona. Like I had to write I wanted to write exactly what I knew. What
you saw.
Yeah, so that I couldn't be accused of like stereotyping race or anything. So that's why I based it where I did with the characters that I did. I mean, even the neighborhood that I described is exactly the neighborhood that I knew growing up.
Okay. And that's why it's third person? Because you're still putting yourself in the role of observer and not participant?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't seen it. Hold it.
Was it uncomfortable at all? Did you call Black friends? Did you reach out to anybody? Like, what was what sort of fact checking, or is it literally just I saw this and so I'm going to write about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Saw this, so I'm writing about it.
Does Herb have a character in the series?
No.
Did he ever? Okay.
No.
I can't remember if he has. I know he contributed to the Kickstarter. How much of the telling of Xavier is your classic like get out and make a better life for yourself? I know it's a trope. I know we see it, and I know it's not only is it just a trope, but it's reality for a lot of folks. There's a very present.
So the thing that I wanted to do is I didn't want to try to paint a picture of societal problems. What I wanted to do was paint a picture of the strength that I know come from that culture. So I really didn't spend much dwelling on trying to like tell some story of oppression. I painted the picture of things that I observed, like Xavier's really like ironclad commitment to his mother. That's something that I observed in Black culture, is this loyalty to family. You don't see that with white people, at least most that I know. That you don't turn your back on family, no matter what they do to you. you stay loyal, you stay true, and you have a responsibility to your family. So those were the aspects that I focused on. So I focused on those things, and then I put in things that would create a problem to accomplishing those goals, right? So, Xavier, he's got this problem of his mother's an alcoholic, and he is left as the oldest male in the family, and he's got to take care of his siblings. And so what does he do when his mother is literally inhibiting his ability to take care of them? Those were the problems I faced. So I didn't try to make that like a black problem. I tried to make that as a human problem. And because, I don't think that's the kind of problem that crosses cultures.
Well, a lot of that is a poverty problem.
Yes.
In irrelevant, race being irrelevant, poverty, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between issues that come from race and issues that come from poverty.
Yeah.
Poverty is kind of the great equalizer.
Yes.
Not having money, money doesn't care what color you are. If you have it, you can get your way out of problems and you have resources. And if you don't have it, you can't get out of problems and you don't have resources.
So that's really what I really tried to. I wanted to focus on the positive things, the very specific Black culture things that I saw as good, and then just create, a problem that had to then be overcome with those characteristics in mind. So I don't feel, at least not, having written it, I don't feel like I spend too much time thinking about the fact that he's Black.
Right.
I try to follow the same advice
that David gave. Yeah.
Don't write the character as a particular thing. Just write
the character, and they. Yeah.
What's mostly Black about Xavier is his neighborhood, his circumstances. It's not him per se. And then the way they speak is just the way that I've heard, the way that I would hear Black people speak, and that's what I wrote. Is phrases thing. So I don't know, could be a little outdated at this point, but that's what I observed growing up. So yeah, that's what I stuck with.
All right. In terms of, did you ever feel like you were up against that traditional do I stay or do I go?
Oh yeah, like the N-word. I did that's the one thing I did a lot of research on. Is it appropriate for white writers to use the N-word coming out of a Black character's mouth? And I saw both ways, so I just erred on the side of caution and didn't use it.
Well, I was actually referring to it. So one of the stories that gets told all the time is, if you have an opportunity to get out of Section 8, to get out of the situation, to get out of the neighborhood, there's this dichotomy between people that want to improve themselves and better themselves and feel like they can only do that by leaving. And then there's those people who feel abandoned, who feel like you're making a statement that you're better than them if you leave. Is there any?
Oh, well, Xavier is very much a loner in the story. And so he didn't really face a ton of that. He's kind of painted as a little bit of an outsider anyway, because he is working so hard to support this family. His older brother, before he died, supported his family through drugs. Xavier isn't doing any of that. And, he goes about it a different way. And he really doesn't have time. He finds that he doesn't have time to really engage in anything else. He's just 100% focused on like, how do I find food for today? Every day is a different scheme, it's a different strategy. So as far as like, getting flack for getting out, he really only encounters that when they start the gardening co-op in his neighborhood, where people then want to take advantage of something that he's kind of spearheaded, and he gets some people who think it's you know, a good thing, and then a lot of people who think it's like
Which one
not a
is
good thing
the
because, you know, all the locals see all of the refugees as they're called cockroach. They call them cockroaches because they just didn't die when they
How
should
much
have.
is that Sandra?
And so it becomes very much like a us versus them mentality, and I think that's kind of what helps alleviate this what might have normally been the problem of like, oh, you're too good for us, you're trying to get out of this. It's more like, you know, we don't want the refugees taking what's rightfully
What
ours.
size does the Sandra have this girl?
Even though they were doing the food co-op?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that anybody they mostly just didn't trust them away from the refugee camps. So
Okay.
There's a white shirt.
Apologies, everyone. It just occurred to me as I was staring at Pop Shop that I didn't add the books into the catalog. So all the books are now in the catalog, and I put the featured item as the book that we're talking about, which is Volume 3 of Waterworld. You do not have to start at the beginning of the story. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, there is a way kind of Star Wars style to jump into book 5, which is Dreamworld. It is a monster, and part of this monster is it's a little bit of catch up. So feel free if you want to jump into the Colorworld series. So this is 5, and then 6. Each character in 6 has there you can see the difference. Each character in 6.
by comparison, it's a novella.
Yes, but on its own, it is.
It's probably considered a book.
Yeah.
Regular novel.
Yep. So feel free to jump in there.
Oh my goodness.
Crazy, buddy.
I would also make noise.
He is excited today. All right. I wish there was like a generator, like a random generator, and you could just choose to like put random products from a category. What are you doing, Goober? All right, we're gonna choose different bookmarks this week to put in than we've been putting in, so that way you all are getting some variety. So we like to put some bookmarks in along with the book series for you to peruse while we're talking about the particular book. And then always, if you have questions about the books as we're talking or about writing in general, definitely let us know, and we'll answer those. Since I'm really just the sales and marketing guy, other than being called on for some advice every now and then, or to talk about what Gabe would do. That's one of my roles in this series, is to answer questions about Gabe, and then my goal is to just have Rachel keep telling the story. So there's been a time or two when Rachel needed a push in the right direction, and so now there's lots of books in the series. All right, let's add these bookmarks to the show. Bam. All right, those should be live now. If you want to see one of the metal bookmarks, you just have to let us know, and we will go ahead and show you up close and personal what some of these metal bookmarks look like. Ooh, I know Attack on Titan is on fire right now. People are excited about Attack on Titan, so let's get some Attack on Titan live into the show. All right. Oh, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Man. I know a lot of folks are watching season 2. All right. All right. Depending on size, if the 2XLs are left, they're left there for a reason.
What size is the Bungo Stray Dogs?
All right.
Okay, so no 2X is probably not small. And then what size was the Promise Neverland?
All right. And we'll get those live, and then we'll get back to... Okay, thanks so much for your patience. Welcome in, Alexandra. Welcome in, Elodie. Welcome, Trash Panda. Welcome back. All right, let me go highlight and favorite. the book that we're on this week. So that way, that one is the favorite product. Okay, fantastic. Yeah.
It's like,
Is it spitting everywhere?
yeah.
Man, he's a cool little kid. All right. Xavier's ability, is that how does it come about? Like where do you start telling Xavier's story? Like how do you, because he's a character that came out of the blue.
Well, you know, I don't think I ever write the character to fit the ability.
Right.
Somehow the ability just makes itself known.
Okay.
So, you know, in the beginning of Xavier's book, we follow him doing different things and notice that he seems to be able to sneak in and out of places really well. And not really sure how that is, right? And he doesn't necessarily, he's like, oh, I just, you know, I have a way of like not being seen, you know, and kind of like Charlotte, you know, it doesn't realize that that's his superpower, and that it's actually even more powerful than he realizes until Mike takes him on and gives him a job. He does not realize just how effective it really is, that he can, you know, sneak in and out of places literally in plain sight. I think Cassie said, you know, Xavier could walk on stage during a musical and nobody would know that he was there. If he, like, that's how good he is. And so that's how I knew, like, well, that's his ability, is being invisible, and not like the Invisible Woman type of invisible, but like he dulls your senses. You know, he makes it so that you don't perceive him, even though he's like right there. And his ability to do that has to do with whether he believes that, you know,
He can do it.
he can do it. If he's like, I'm gonna get in and get out, you know. But as soon as he's like afraid, or his, you know, he's like, oh my gosh, they're gonna see me. They do see him. So
Is any of that influenced by the scene where Peter walks out into the water in the New Testament?
I mean, you know, that's faith at work, so sure.
Well, it's a very specific example of what you just talked about, where it worked until he doubted that it would work, and then it didn't work.
Yeah, I don't know that I thought of that specifically.
Okay.
I just thought of like his ability requires faith.
Yeah.
So
Well, so what do you think then when somebody reads your story and says, oh, this is what it's, you know, you remember back to high school English class and you're picking things apart and you're saying the author did
I'm
this.
sure that has an influence. I mean, I've read the New Testament. I've read the story. So I'm sure my idea of how faith works is influenced by my religion. Yes.
Well, meaning, like, what do you think of when someone goes, oh, I found this in your book? This is,
I don't have any, like, particular feelings about it.
well, because one of your Colorworlds used in adolescent literature at Western Carolina University. Do you ever just imagine what they're sitting around
No idea.
attributing to?
I don't know. Just
Never.
like I don't think about what people are writing in their reviews.
In their
I
reviews.
don't think about
We know you don't read reviews.
whether people. I don't think about like the over analysis of my books, either good or bad. Like I don't think about that.
All right. Definitely a haircut, John. 100%. Rachel has. I think that was John who said.
Yeah. If it's on this one, you kind of can't see because
It's John. Yeah. Because the
of
comment
light.
above it.
I have like a Jesus halo.
There's quite the light above your head. That's true. But on Pop Shop, you can definitely see the haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the difference between the camera on the iPhone and the camera on that, however old that laptop is. And you always wonder why they upgrade the camera on the phone. That's stuff like that. So if you go back and you watch this after the fact on YouTube, I got to tell you, the camera's not as good. Welcome in, Flurry. How are you doing? All right. So you set out to tell the story, and at what point do you know the extent of Xavier's ability? At what point do you begin to suspect, holy cow, I bet if this kid believed.
Well, I initially, when I wrote this story, when I first started, did not know that Xavier. I knew Xavier. all the characters somehow intertwine with Wendy's story, but I don't usually know how until later. So when Xavier goes to New York, when he hops on the train, he hops on the train with Cassie.
Right.
I don't actually know where they're going at first.
Oh, really?
And then when they end up in New York, and I know Wendy's in New York, and she's in Rikers. She's on Rikers Island.
How soon did you put those two together?
He's busting her out of jail.
Okay, so like literally as soon as the train rolls into New York, you're like, I know why he's there now.
Yes. Then I had kind of this dual purpose of him uncovering this that we don't really learn a lot about it. There's a group of people that are living in Co-op City.
So it's like the book writes itself.
Who seem to be they seem to have abilities of some kind, and the guild seems to be testing them to see the extent of those abilities. We don't really learn who's behind that, except it's hinted at by Shri and Mike that Orr is behind it. So we don't really know, at least not in Xavier's book, what is that about.
Okay.
But the main purpose of Xavier, I learned, is that he's going to use his ability to bust Wendy. Because I knew Wendy was going to get out of jail. I was like, well, Mike's going to do some like jujitsu or something and like take everybody on. But it made more sense and it was more fun to have.
Well, it definitely made more sense.
Xavier come in and.
I think you definitely would have gotten accused of writing something that was finally not believable if Mike just kicked a wall.
Yeah, well, in the story, so like after they get out of Rikers, like I always thought it was gonna be Shia who got her out.
Is
like,
it
because Shia actually shuts the power grid down after they get out to help them get away. So my thought was always like Shia's gonna be involved in this.
Wasn't Shia the lawyer?
Yes.
That got her thrown in jail to begin with.
Yes.
I remember, boy, they were upset about that.
Yeah.
They thought old Shia flipped the script and just drove the bus right over Wendy herself.
Yeah. She drove the bus to Rikers and dropped her off.
Dropped her right at the front door.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome in, Tina. Welcome in, Nicole. Welcome in, Lorena. We're talking Waterworld, which is volume 3 of the Colorworld series. You do not have to start at book 1 and read all the way through the many volumes of book 6. You can, if you wish, start at book 5, which is Dreamworld. It is a monster of a book. There's the perspective. But this was designed in a way that kind of like Star Wars episode 4, 5, and 6. We got in the 70s and early 80s and then didn't get episode 1, 2, and 3 for many, many years later. So you can actually start with Dreamworld in the middle, and then if you fall in love, you can go back and find out how it all happened. Although I'm really excited for next week. Very excited for next week. Next week, I have to figure out where I put my copies of Soraya. I know I'm reading one of them. I'm carting it around all over the place because Soraya is next week's book talk. I need to schedule that. But I couldn't do the preview video earlier because the book didn't exist. Rachel just published it on Valentine's Day, just under a month ago. So there will be one more book talk before we wrap up the book talk series, and then we'll have to see if we do any more like talking head series. The rest of it may just be your kind of normal pop shop. All right.
Should be where you talk about ideas for the next books.
Well, I can't ask questions because I'm not involved in the writing process. So I have to read the book first.
Remember, you just said the books write themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
We talked about it.
And she can't even answer the question because she hasn't written it yet. So it'll just be Rachel saying, I don't know.
We could do this. We could do that. We don't know what we're going to do, though.
Yeah. It would sound.
You just put ideas in your head.
It would sound like a bunch of politicians. Yeah. All right. Well, I said yes, but then it's got to be over by your side. Because there is no pacifier. Oh, it is right here. All right. Pacifier. Bam. All right. Back to Waterworld. So did you know that Co-op City was coming?
I remember driving through New York and seeing a sign for it and seeing the buildings in the distance. I'm like, that's really interesting. What is that? Saw it on a map.
Yep.
I ended up researching it
Yep.
and learning about it, and I was like, that's really cool. I'm gonna put that in a book.
Yeah.
So that's how that ended up there.
But did you knew that when Xavier got on the train to go to New York, that he wasn't going to New York City, he was going to Co-op City?
Yeah, well, I mean, Co-op City is like right outside of
Sure, I get it, but I'm saying like he could have showed up at Times Square or Union Station or any other logical.
Yeah, well, I needed him to end up somewhere where he was going to discover something about the guild. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And you in the history of Co-op City is such that you could write the guild into.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a great backdrop for kind of a covert operation happening
in broad daylight.
Yeah.
Hiding in plain sight, which is the best way to hide something, because then you don't have to pretend. Okay, so you knew when he boarded the train that he was not going to your typical New York destination. You knew he was going to end up in Co-op City.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you were excited. Like, when did you know he was going? Like, when he leaves North Carolina, you knew he was.
Well, remember they get in the hopper car and it's full of people, and they're like, "What is happening?" and like none of them speak English. Fortunately, Cassie's with him, and she speaks Haitian. And so, you know, they kind of figure out like kind of where they're going.
Okay.
And Cassie's like, this seems really suspicious.
Really suspicious.
We're gonna, because Cassie,
which it was very suspicious.
She's a social justice warrior. You know, she's always ready for like the next fight. She's like, what kind of injustice is happening?
So she's gonna ride the train to discuss, to uncover.
And of course, just murder the minister. Murder is said loosely.
He's dead.
He's dead. They were there. Who took his life, and so Xavier's like, I can't stay here. I'm gonna get like.
That's true.
You know, I'm gonna get arrested. They're gonna take me like, you know, away from my family. Like, what am I gonna do? I guess I'll just hang out with this chick. She seems to know what's going on.
Do you ever feel like, oh man, so convenient? Thank you. Like, as you're saying it out loud, I'm like, golly, that's your just.
Well, I had to have something to get Xavier away from his family.
Okay. And you're like,
and
if he kills someone.
He's involved with this Cassie chick, and I can totally see her murdering the minister. She's already got beef with this guy, and he's a real sleazeball.
Oh my goodness.
And I remember I was reading reading articles about Haiti. Because I knew there were going to be refugees from Haiti, so I had to know kind of like, and I just learned that just government corruption is one of their biggest. It's a really big problem. So,
well, yeah, Haiti, Russia,
everywhere really, but
Cuba,
particularly in Haiti, taking advantage
Venezuela,
of their own people.
Should we go on?
So,
United States of America.
So that's where I, came up with this. There's this whole problem going on with the refugees are being, really taken advantage of by their own government. They're already houseless, homeless, countryless, living in, makeshift camps.
Not speaking
and their government
English.
Is still trying to
take
everything from them that they possibly can. And Cassie's, she's the one who's like, running the black market on
foiling
resources.
Yeah.
And trying to feed people. And so when she, gets ousted from, she can't even go back, right? Because she's had a hand in murdering this minister.
Terrible human.
Prime Minister. She's like, oh, wait, there's some shady business going on here. I'm in, so.
I will go fight the next fight.
Cassie's always ready for the next battle. She's already good. She's fighting injustice. That's what she does.
Okay.
And Xavier just kind of gets drug along because
she's a girl.
She's hot, and because he seems really intrigued by her.
Save the world.
Yeah, like she seems to have like this higher Xavier's just trying to like survive with his family.
Right.
And she's like, I will save everyone. So he, she's the motivator really for him to where he ends up, where he does, helping Mike bust Wendy out of jail. So
okay,
it's I liked the turn of events with Xavier. To me, is like it was a really interesting thing to see unfold as I was writing it.
Welcome in, Mark. Okay, so none of this like grand scheme is all planned out. You just start. What made you do the refugee? I mean, that's another kind of common.
Well, we already knew that North Carolina would be a big place for refugees because Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, all of that is wiped out in the subduction. So there's a new coastline, and it's North Carolina. So it would make sense that the refugees would flee to the next closest place, right? Which happens to be Eastern North Carolina, which also happens to be economically repressed. And I knew that when it comes to a situation like that, the people who are left behind are going to be the people who are too poor to leave.
Well, I just meant in terms of like telling a refugee story. Was there something?
No.
You're just like the subduction happened.
There's millions of people who have lost their homes.
Yeah.
And
it's happening right now.
Yeah, that's something I had to address somewhere. You can't just be like, and everybody was saved, because we know.
You're saying in the Colorworld universe,
yes,
or in real life?
Remember, the Waterworld series is intended to help people see a broader picture, like things happening elsewhere, because Wendy can't see everything. She can't be involved in everything.
Right.
And so it's like this refugee story is huge. I mean, just imagine like just the upheaval of society that would happen if 10 million people were.
Oh, you mean like right now?
Displaced, and sent somewhere. Yeah,
like literally right now.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, $6 gas prices. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. So, and that happens
in Chicago right now. It's $6.
That's crazy.
Almost $7.
Well, at the time that I wrote it.
do you know that the in I Am Legend, right? You know that Will Smith movie about the apocalypse?
Yeah.
That the gas prices were lower than they are right now in real life. That they couldn't, in their portrayal of the apocalypse,
couldn't even conceive of it.
They didn't give gas prices where they are right now in real life. Yeah. That was a sad fact that I learned today.
So Nova needs to be getting ready, so we need to somehow deliver that. Can we get one of these cronies?
What? Wow. Probably not if you address people as cronies. I don't think.
It's a fun word though, cronies.
Sure. But I consider the people I work with to be lovely human beings.
Well, you
not
because
cronies.
I love you so much, and you're not my crony. You're
my gosh.
Cohort.
She just heard you say crony.
Novin needs to get ready to go to the temple, and then he needs to make sure Eop's watching fish right.
Yes.
And then he needs to come over here so
report
can take him
at the gate.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me
tell Novin, say, get your church clothes on.
In 10 minutes, he needs to be here with.
Okay.
Where are the name cards? Is that all of them?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We're gonna attempt, and now Autumn is live. Welcome in, Autumn. Thanks for helping us out. Ari, welcome in. Katie, welcome in. Man, my eyes are not good today. I think it's because I need some more rest.
You should drink some more of that orange.
They'll help my eyesight.
It's all the carrots.
Yeah, the carrots. Lots of carrots. Yeah, I think I'm just run down today from being up.
Yeah, when you're tired and your eyes they're just like watery.
They just don't focus.
Yeah. Burning.
I do not have the clarity in my eyeballs that I normally do. Usually I can sit here in the chair and see exactly who's coming in. I don't have my superpower today. I need more rest. All right. So it's so topical. It's so like right on point for literally what's happening right now in the world of people getting, you know what I mean? Like we're discussing this at the exact time that millions of Ukrainians are, fleeing to Europe, I would imagine if they had ties to the United States, anywhere that they have.
If United States ever let anybody into the country.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Even now I have not looked into, I know the Republican response to refugees is go away. I hope the Democrat response is not the same. I would hope that nobody, it's so funny that people forget that our economy was built on immigration. Like that's literally what built and made our economy.
And we're like, we have so much.
Yeah.
We have so much.
We definitely can spare a lot.
Even the poorest people in America have so much.
Have far more than what they have in other countries. Amanda, welcome back. Yeah. All right. So Xavier runs off. You finally get to use Co-op City. Did you know before you started the book that you were going to get to use your Co-op City?
No.
No.
I don't remember the order, whether I came upon it before I started writing Xavier.
Well, yeah, because
or
I
after.
remember we drove by it. We
Yeah.
literally drove by, and you're like, "What is that?
Yeah.
And why is it called Co-op City?" And then started doing your research. So that was, I mean, I knew from previous history that if you fell in love with the place and started, that it was eventually gonna. You have a T-shirt that says "Be careful, you might end up in my book." But I feel like that applies as much to places as it does to
Sure.
people.
Sure.
Yeah. I do love writing a contemporary story. You're able to bring in so much like cool modern history. We learned last week about the that kind of really weird religion that used baseball to proselyte it's and try to grow its numbers. That was a super cool. I really love that part of oh my gosh, Charlotte was last week. Okay, so they show up in New York City. Cassie, I think it's funny, don't we Cassie and Xavier kind of switch roles, right? Like we feel like we know Cassie and what her beef is, and then Xavier kind of becomes more confident about what he's gonna do, and then the next thing you know, like Cassie is the one that's like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, absolutely.
Do your thing.
Undo.
No, do your thing.
Yes, correct. I was preparing for the blanket, the working of the blanket. All right. Thanks everybody for bearing with us. There comes a time in every book talk in which nursing has to happen because babies eat. Oh no! Can you reach? All right, good stuff. All right, we got 5 minutes until one of us has to get up and go make sure Novin is where he needs to be. All right. Was that always planned, or that's just how the story goes? We end up with you can leave. Thanks. At what point do they kind of change places and Cassie finds herself as the outsider, right? We start out where Xavier kind of always feels like the odd man out, but then the next thing Xavier is surrounded by a bunch of prime humans, and everybody has these things they can do, and now Cassie is the one that's like, "Whoop, I think I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time."
Yeah, I mean, she is a real jerk about it for a while.
Yeah.
And I don't know that she always feels like she's in her element, but she seems to have some measure of loyalty to Xavier, really, because he's kind of like her only friend left, and she's lost everything. She can't go back. And she also sees Xavier as naive, and like she has to like protect him or whatever. So it's kind of nice for the tables to turn a little bit. Before Xavier was kind of dependent on her,
right?
And now he's kind of like he has a purpose.
Yeah.
And so we don't really get to explore that relationship too deeply.
Yeah, not much.
But I felt like that was authentic, like that Cassie, this confident person, doesn't want to like let any of her feelings show, doesn't want to be seen as weak, and Xavier likes her, and every time he tries to like show her that he likes her, she's mean about it. And so eventually it's kind of like, why am I spending time with this person? Like, does she care? Does she not care? So I don't spend too much time diving into that, but I felt like that there was just a really authentic interaction between two people who are attracted to each other.
I did. It was very well done in that it felt so real. She really not on a dime, but as she became aware of how unique she became, meaning did not have an ability and kind of surrounded by people that were, it became really obvious that she had to come up against what inevitably she had to have known Xavier felt like, being around people that were essentially normal. The airport, I kept thinking the whole time as they're approaching, like, tell me this isn't going to be this obvious. Tell me that, having a gun at an airport, always bad juju.
Oh, yeah.
Did you feel like you wrote Xavier into a trap, or did you, like, how concerned were you that Xavier was at the airport with a gun and inevitably?
Well, see, that was supposed to sort of impress upon the reader Mike's ability in action. This sort of like
to the boss.
Xavier was needed for a specific purpose.
Right.
And this was the only way to get that purpose. There's the only way to connect him and Mike.
Yep.
Was for Xavier to just sort of, have you ever done something where you're just like, I feel like I was just blinded. Like, how did I end up doing this thing? But then it like works out and you're like, it was supposed to be like that. That was really what we were supposed to see it from a mile away and be like, okay. Even Xavier, like right after it happens, is like, what was I doing? What in the world was I thinking? Yeah. Because I think that's the way that things work sometimes.
I'm going to cross the camera. Sorry. We're on a short time. So was that part of Mike's ability that Xavier ends up in that situation?
Yes, 100%.
Do not leave it out though. And then she already knows that you're waiting on it? Okay, cool. Okay. So is that why he's kind of like Kingpin when Xavier shows up in prison or jail?
Yeah, Mike's been laying there
just like waiting,
just meditating on his goal.
Oh, that's so funny.
And waiting for the universe to deliver.
Yeah, I was never like, oh no, Mike's in jail too. Like at no point was I ever concerned that but I was really concerned with I just kept thinking like, what could Xavier do right now to get out of this? What could he do right now? How can I kept trying to think of how to like will Xavier to not be in a situation that he was absolutely 100% in. That's all I could think about was how to get him out of that spot.
Yeah. No, wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, I saw that. I felt kind of terrible for Xavier.
The God of the Waterworld has spoken.
He ended up. So it was. I'm sure I was. As soon as Mike was there, like, man, I think I remember feeling like I sure hope Mike knows who this kid is, so that this kid doesn't end up like. Because I think at one point, aren't we a little scared that he's just going to beat up Xavier? I feel like it's...
No, but we were a little worried Xavier was going to get beat up by the other guys in the jail cell. Yeah. It's kind of like, we don't even really know Mike's there until like somebody says, "Oh, don't you know this is Mike Dumas? Like, you can't mess with this guy,"
Oh, gotcha.
Because Mike says, like, "Who are you?" And Xavier's like, "What's it you? I have to answer your questions."
Yeah, that's a good way to get punched.
Well, he's like, "Oh, I'm in jail, so I have to act like a tough guy, so I don't get taken advantage of."
Sure. Or you can get molested the first day in.
Well, we've been over this before, that it's all about confidence. So
Sure. Or getting molested by someone much larger than you are. Yeah. I love it is
That's
really
such
cool.
a great moment.
Yeah.
It's a fun moment to write.
It's really cool.
Where Xavier realizes, like, oh man, this is an important person. And we're like, I think we're all kind of internally like, it's Mike. Like, this thing's about to go down.
I don't know. I mean, at first glance, I was like, oh shoot, now they're all in jail. What the heck now, man? There's some illegal stuff that's gonna, because obviously breaking out of jail is against the law to break out of jail.
Oh, but Mike has connections. He's not going to be in jail forever.
Sure.
He just has to get bailed out. Just pay enough money.
I guess.
Rich people can do that.
Well, sure, but I don't know that superheroes people. Is there even a concept?
Remember,
at this
it's
point?
Shree who bails him out.
Yeah. Is this the book where there's finally like people are aware that there's folks out there that can do things? What's kind of the X-Men Charles Xavier moment in?
Oh, well, so we become aware through Co-op City that there's some sort of testing of ability that's happening.
Well, sure, but that's
And then Wendy sees Xavier and she's like, "You're a life force. You're a prime human, and I don't know how that is. Like, why are you a prime human?"
why is who?
Xavier.
Why would she ask why?
Well, she's not asking him, she's asking the question because this is the first time she's been exposed to this idea of spontaneous.
Oh, so she
prime
didn't think
humans.
people would be born this way.
Right, like without having parentage necessary. Even Shri was like,
Well, certainly.
"Who
he
is your
does.
mother?"
Yeah,
He doesn't. That's
I
where
totally
we
missed
begin
that.
to get that idea.
Totally missed that.
So Shri can't find anyone in the database. Can't
Where-
find his parents in the database to indicate,
Oh,
right? Because we know that at least in past books that Shia underwent this kind of prime human census where she attempted to track down every prime human,
that's some
make sure they were in the database, right?
cerebro stuff right there.
And then when we realize that some people, like Charlotte, for example, Charlotte doesn't have
Yeah,
parentage.
it's off the radar.
And so we're kind of like, where are these people coming from? Where are these prime humans who don't seem to be related to anybody in the guild? Where are they coming from?
Well, I mean, if you're not a Slytherin, right? Isn't it okay that Muggles can breed? They can make wizards. It's right. Isn't that the whole thing in Harry Potter, right?
I don't know what that has to do.
Well, that's this. The Slytherin and the guild are a lot alike in that they think that this is how this thing happens, right? And then you get goobers. You got people that are. Isn't Hermione a Muggle?
Yeah, but I'm just not following this parallel. I mean, I
You don't-
understand what
You
you're
see what I'm
saying,
saying?
but you're comparing the guild to Slytherins, and that you're thinking of the amalgam, who is
Another visitor.
more like Slytherin. Hey,
Another
buddy.
visitor.
Hey, buddy.
Visitor's Ray.
He
Visitor's Ray.
Yeah, went up to his room and said, "I'm not watching him." Closed his door. So
I guess he's not going on Friday.
All right. Oh my goodness, you're so huge. This kid weighs a lot of pounds. All right. You see, we're streaming. You see, we're talking about Mom's book. All right.
Do you want some of these, Tish?
Yeah. Do you want some
Yogi
snacks?
bites?
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna have some for you though.
All right. Well, this idea that that there's a correct way to be a prime human, and they think that they believe they understand how it all happens, right? Isn't that the rejection of Muggle-born wizards?
I just stop with the muggles.
What?
It's just what they thought. At no point was I thinking about Harry Potter.
Well, you said at no point were you thinking of the New Testament with
Sure.
Xavier's ability.
Yeah, but
so,
I don't know why that idea of
Okay.
people spontaneously being born with powers is as like strictly a Harry Potter thing.
I didn't say it was strictly.
We just had to insert our weekly Harry Potter
I'm
reference.
saying that I'm going to destroy J.K. Rowling.
Okay.
No, but
Can you ask a question?
I was asking a question, but you keep getting hung up on Harry Potter.
that doesn't sound right.
Oh man. Yeah, I know, right? Well, I asked you what you thought of people like insisting that these ideas came from these places. Now you're being forced to do this. Okay. So this did we I guess there was no inkling of this in I was never like, who are Charlotte's parents? Where did it come Where did it come from? Oh my gosh. He is so loud. He is so
Here,
loud.
Put something in your mouth.
Is it was it a Xavier
There you go.
thing where it came out that parents were a big I didn't ever get that impression up till now that you had to come through a specific lineage or you could not be.
Well, it's not that you couldn't. It's just that had been the experience. That's where these people with abilities have come from.
There you go.
Is some external cause. So with the guild, it was started with hypnotouch.
I don't know.
With Charlotte, we have the Oniri who do dream meditation. With the amalgam's also the same as the guild. Then we have who did we do last? We did Charlotte.
We did Charlotte.
Oniri, and then Xavier. We have this idea what Street calls epiprimes. He calls them epicrimes. These crimes were born without any sort of indication as to how they became that way. They just were born that way.
Well, yeah, that's it. That's the explanation.
Yeah, but they hadn't had that experience before. This is a new thing.
Isn't it just the first one they know of? Xavier can't be the first.
No, it's not. Charlotte is not the first one. But this is what they're coming to discover, that there are way more prime humans, which becomes relevant once the Prime Human Locator gets released in the next book, right? Because
Soraya?
at the end of Xavier,
Okay.
Shia, comes on screen. Everybody, right? She takes over TV, media, network, whatever, and says,
Broadcasting.
"You have this many hours before I release this Prime Human Locator, and then they can be found at will." Right? And so the fact that there are
forgot about that part.
so many more prime humans out there than expected becomes a huge problem, because now
Why is that a problem?
Well, because how are you going to protect 20, 30, 40, 50 times more prime humans than they originally thought?
Wait,
They're all spread throughout the United States.
So why is
and
she
the
going to
world.
release that if they're trying to protect them?
Have you not read Xavier?
I did.
Okay, well, what did you think when you got to that part?
I don't remember that part. I just remember them breaking Wendy out of.
Okay, give me the book.
Okay, I'll give you the book.
Then trade you the baby.
Trade the baby. Yeah, I mean, and part of it is because the copy that I got of Xavier, I guess I found it in Dropbox before you finished the book, and so for like a year I thought that I knew where the book ended, and then you're like, oh, there's more. So that's part of why.
Okay, so good day, citizens of the world. Lim says from the screen, this message is pre-recorded and being broadcast across all networks, transmitted from every satellite in every language to ensure that it will be heard by all. Some of you may know me as Mashia Lim, advisor and lawyer to Wendy Whitley Dumas, who serves as the highest esteemed chair of the Council of the Guild, a body which governs the organization of prime humans the world over. The Guild's sole purpose was intended to be that of the Earth's protector. Events today which threaten life and survival of humanity were foretold by Samuel Pruitt in 1977. The Guild was formed out of this future promise and charged to find a solution to reverse the future that was to come. For those of you who have followed the Whitley trial, you are familiar with the tablet which was found at the scene of the kidnapping, Whitley's kidnapping, and Andre Gallagher's death. You are also aware that the contents of the tablet were not revealed at trial, despite the fact that Whitley was found capable of unlocking it. My purpose today is to share those contents with you. I will preface what you are about to see with a transcript from a portion of Wendy Whitley's testimony from the trial. All right, so replays the trial, and then we see a video recording of Ezra, who's talking to Andre before he was dead, and which Ezra talks about safe zones, right? So she implicates the Guild also in knowing where these safe zones are and not telling anybody. So she throws the Guild under the bus. And then after that...
So Andre was going to use the tablet to go find and kill all the primes.
So Andre wanted Ezra to, had told Ezra to create this locator so that he could find all primes and kill them. Okay.
Oh, wait. So Ezra created the locator?
Yes, Ezra created the locator. So then, let's see.
Wow.
Okay, so then after she plays the footage from Ezra, she says, I have in my possession Ezra Whitley's formulas for developed to locate prime humans. I took the liberty of writing the program that will make use of his algorithms. In 48 hours, this program will be made available to the rest of the world. To everyone hearing this message, may your humanity be with you.
Okay, so is that so she's giving them access to the safe zones, or is she locating the primes?
She's letting everybody in the world know where all the primes are.
Why? That's some crazy stuff, girl.
You need to read this book again.
Clearly, that's some craziness. But I mean, I'm in Soraya right now. It's some crazy, some pre-crazy that I didn't even know about. But this is the one book where I feel like I know what's coming, which I will talk about tomorrow. You know, my goal is obviously to read all of Soraya before we get to next week. I'm about halfway done, so it's totally doable. I might be reading a lot this weekend for sure. But I feel like next week I see it coming. All right. So Andre has the tablet.
Andre has a tablet. On the tablet is a recording.
Is Wendy shooting him in the face have anything to do with her knowing what's on the tablet? Does Wendy know what's on the tablet?
All she knows is when she had the tablet, she saw a recording of Ezra. And so that's when it clicked for her. Andre's had Ezra all this time.
The whole time.
Yes. And then Andre attempts to blackmail her and say, you're going to do this thing or I'm going to kill your brother. So she shoots him in the face.
Oh, well, that ended that.
So she's like, I'm not going to be blackmailed.
That, and then Cap.
Yeah.
Why the face? She couldn't just shoot him like in another part and get him arrested? Like,
I mean, shooting somebody in his head is a pretty sure bet that he'll die.
but she needed him dead? Like,
Yes. Well, that's the big question, right? She could have disarmed him. She could have.
well, that's what I'm
disabled him.
saying. Like, it seems like there was a few steps in between. I'm gonna kill your brother, and
But she wanted him dead, and at least how she describes it, that there would be no way for him to blackmail her, whether alive and in jail or dead. Like she basically eliminated the possibility that
for sure
her decisions would be swayed by anything Andre would say.
So, are you saying that there was so much risk to what Andre could do just being alive that
that's her justification.
That he had so much influence that he could do things that
because she didn't know, like, does he have someone working for him that then he's gonna say, oh, well, you better let me go or else this person knows that they're supposed to kill you. But like any number of scenarios in which if he was alive, the words that he said could influence her actions.
So did her actions?
Wendy's actions as the head of the guild.
Okay,
right?
she's saying she didn't want her love for her brother influencing her decisions.
Correct.
And that because he possessed the kind of like one thing that would get her to do something that she didn't necessarily. All right. Okay, so because Wendy with Andre having Ezra, Wendy was compromised.
Yes.
Her ability to make decisions.
That's literally what she said.
Think clearly.
Okay.
Yes. And so she was like, well, I'll take
She knew her position.
Right.
She knows I'm compromised. In my position of power, I'm compromised with this person alive.
With them. Okay. And so she was like, fall on the sword.
Yeah, basically.
Like, I'm the only one that has to pay for this. So I'm just going to make this.
Yeah.
Man, I can't wait for volume 6 of book 6.
I think you need to go back and read.
I mean, maybe, probably so. I have a photographic memory, but I definitely don't have I don't have the ability to remember every page of every book that I've ever read.
Yeah.
Yeah. Faces mostly.
Yeah, I mean, the story is complex enough that I think it's necessary. Sam, who's one of my biggest fans, she goes back and rereads them every time I read them.
Yes. Yes.
So
she's quite the reader. She has an ability
if anybody's going to spot any inconsistency,
it's going to be Sam.
It's going to be her.
Yeah. Man, we're definitely going to have a really big board when we make the movies to make sure that we know all of the things that we know and then all the things that we know but cannot reveal that we know them. Well, it's do you ever feel like, golly, like keeping track of all these?
Yes.
Yeah.
All the time.
Okay. And that's why you have so many notebooks?
And that's why it takes me so long
to write a book. And then it was so much easier when the world was smaller.
Correct.
Yeah. So has it been helpful then to be able to like pause and do each of these characters? Does it keep it simpler?
Yes.
Oh, good. That's excellent.
100%.
So then are you nervous about book 7?
Of course.
Are you oh no!
This way. Hey buddy.
What are you doing there, buds? Are you is book 6 of Waterworld, volume 6 of book 6, is that equally
because I have to basically take all of the books
and tie it together
and put them together.
So you have one more volume
of freedom.
of freedom. Well, don't you think that, I mean, it seems to me, especially Xavier, almost of all of them, right? Because Xavier is like so many things, and I don't know if it's just Mike's ability at work, but so many things have to fall into place all the time. Like every new change of scenery is like, oh my gosh, we need so much to happen for these people to get out of this jam.
Yeah.
Do you oh man, now I lost track.
So you can't even keep track of your questions.
I know. It is very complicated.
It's daunting. It's like sometimes it gives me anxiety.
Okay. Because so you're saying that even after Xavier, you don't have the confidence to feel like, just in the way that so many things came together, that it's not gonna, like, things that you don't know now will be revealed in your next book.
Oh well, of course I have to. There's plenty of things that I've written that I, remember I told you with Charlotte, it was like Wendy has this epiphany in the book.
Yeah.
I don't know what that epiphany was. I just knew she had one.
Right. And so that epiphany is coming.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out what that is. So yeah, but the part that's hard is weaving everything together that already exists. The things that are already known have to be woven together.
Right.
And then on top of that, you have to have the inspiration come for
kind of the start of
things to be revealed.
Right.
But that's kind of the power of the things that I don't know. The things that I don't know are usually the things that answer other questions. So the questions like answer each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's actually kind of good to not have all those things, not have everything planned out, because it leaves room for possibility.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, I would think at this point, Tishrei, don't break that, bud. That you're near miss after near miss after near. At some point, you're gonna feel like I can write anything. Do you ever feel like you've just had so much experience, kind of like getting out of a jam, that you fear no chapter ahead? Or you?
Well, no, because I do a lot of rewrites. So sometimes I write things and I get it done and I'm like,
there he goes again.
And then I'm like, no, that's not gonna work. And then I have to rewrite a whole bunch. I did that with Soraya plenty of times, where I wrote it a certain way, and I was like, nah, it doesn't feel right yet. And I go back and I'm like, okay, how can I change this aspect or that aspect, and what will that lead to? And I write, I'm like, oh, that's not right. And I have to go back and like change it again. So there's a lot of rewrites that happen. So it might sound like, oh, like the beam of light hits me, and then all of a sudden I just write the book. But that doesn't usually happen. That doesn't happen at all, really.
Right.
Every book has required extensive rewrites of parts of it.
Okay.
So.
Well, I would think at 9 books in.
Sometimes it's like a maze. You go down the wrong path several times, and then finally end up on the right one. And sometimes, like with Soraya, even it's uncomfortable where it ends up. And you're like, ooh. Like I wasn't a super big fan of Days Discoveries in Co-op City, and then several times I thought about like leaving it out. But
really?
Yeah, but then it kept feeling important, especially because I've always known that Orr is an important character, and that there's some story with him that I needed to tell, and his endeavors were important. So, that's one of the aspects where it's
what he was up to.
Yeah, that's one of the parts where I was like, this kind of seems sort of out there and not really related to the rest of the story.
But it is.
Then I was like, no, I have to leave it. It's supposed to be there. So some things I feel strongly enough about that, even though I don't necessarily know the full reason, it's like I have to keep this. So.
All right. Well, hopefully, you got. Have you started on volume 5?
Sure.
Okay.
Chapter 1.
Oh wow. Have you given yourself a timeline for when?
No, I've tried to like force it, but my life keeps getting in the way. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna let my life get figured out, and then when it's done, like it will come to me at the right time. Like
Okay.
it will. I'm always like thinking about the deadline, and I think sometimes I think about the deadline so much that it takes me that much longer to write the book because maybe I'm just not ready to write it yet. So if that makes sense.
Okay.
Maybe I'm just not ready to write it yet, and that's why.
Has it revealed itself?
And that's why I haven't found the time to do it. So I definitely want to. I want to sit down for 3, 4, 5 hours and bang out a few chapters.
Bang it out.
Yeah. Feel like I'm at least over the hump of starting the book.
Okay. Do you have any are you marinating on some things that are coming, or you just really hit a gigantic roadblock?
No, I mean like there's some things I know that are going to happen with Sarah, but I don't. The things that are happening along the way, I don't know those things. I don't know a lot about where Sarah came from. I know where she's going. So I haven't worked out the details of where she came from.
Gotcha.
And like the rules of that.
Time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Time and place.
Well, fantastic. If you guys are good, we have reached the end of Xavier. These books are obviously smaller.
We've reached the end of what Brad remembers. It's clearly.
Well, I mean, you
there's
really
like whole parts.
You really just want to give away the whole. I mean, it's a pretty exciting. I don't know that I have questions about. Is there something that you're wanting to talk about? Do you feel what? Because it seems like you had something pretty clear in your head that was left off the table.
Well, I guess I'm just wondering if like what you were now that you've left off like the most pivotal moment of the book where it's like, holy crap, what's going to happen now? I'm like, well, what else did you forget that you would normally ask a question about that you like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what you've forgotten. So, I don't usually think like, oh, people are going to have questions about this.
And what do you consider to be the most pivotal moment?
Well, the very last line of the book where Shai is like,
"Oh,
you guys
yeah,
are all going to be able to hunt down prime humans."
Well,
it's kind of that's crazy. Like,
well,
what the
yeah.
why did she do that?
But I don't have any contact. I have like nothing I can do with that information, and so my brain just goes, "Well, we're going to table that." I just, it's like when I
yes, I'm not saying you have questions about that specifically. I am saying that I don't know what leading up to that you remember, like. The whole breakout of Rikers.
Yep.
The whole, do you know how much research I did on Rikers?
How many people attempted to break out of Rikers?
Oh, I don't know. I know people have gotten off, but I know.
Do they find them?
I don't know.
What kind of research did you do if you can't tell me how many people?
It was a while ago.
Well, let's see who's forgotten now.
I can't remember all the details of the research.
I'm sad to hear
remember
it.
the books.
I'm sad to hear it.
7 in 1979, 7 prisoners escaped and 5 were recaptured.
2 were never found?
Yep.
Ever again?
That's just the title of the thing.
Who are the 2 people?
Well, this is 1979.
Okay, I was born then, so 42 years ago. Got it. Who are the 2 people they never found? That's what I want to do.
There were some really interesting things I found.
Did you know about the 7 people? But wait, that's just 1 year, right?
That's just one escape attempt.
Oh, 7 people in one attempt?
Yes. 7 prisoners escaped from Rikers, but 5 were recaptured. 7 prisoners escaped from the house of detention of men on Rikers Island last night, but 5 were recaptured shortly afterward, authorities reported. 3 of the inmates were found on the island and 2 were found in the water, according to Ralph Gardner, a spokesman for the New York City Fire Department. They were believed to be uninjured. Police helicopters and Harborport continue. Okay, the 2 were identified as, so there's still 2 at large.
What?
2 were identified as Donald Brown, he was a 21-year-old.
Okay.
Who was sentenced to 3 to 6 years for robbery, and a 27-year-old convicted of possession of a weapon and a parole violation.
That's a really lame way to get locked up in Rikers. Why are they locking people up for a parole violation?
In 1979, I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe that was the only prison.
That was not the only prison.
Well, no, Usually,
Primarily a pre-trial facility, but also
yes, it's a
has
pre-trial, so it's not where people serve their sentence usually.
Right. It's they put them there so they won't run or what?
Yeah, well, they put them there before their sentencing.
Yeah, pre.
So that's how Wendy ended up there because she hasn't been sentenced yet.
But that only happens if you're trying in the state of New York, right? Or
yeah, it's in New York.
yeah.
So hey, careful, Tishrei.
Don't break that shelf, buddies.
That was the first escape since 1977. In that year, 39 prisoners broke out.
Whoa.
3 drowned, 4 remained at large.
Okay, so there. I want to meet some of these. What do you do with yourself? Do you just go to Mexico and you disappear forever?
Wouldn't it make more sense to go to Canada? It's closer.
I feel. Is there no extradition from Canada? Can you run away to the northern border? I would think we have an extradition agreement with Canada.
We don't have one with Mexico?
Mexico seems lawless to me. Someone's gonna have to.
Most definitely not.
Someone's okay. Well, then all the movies I've seen are definitely gonna have to be. We're gonna need some.
You weirdo.
Gonna need some commentary on it.
Yeah. Well, I did more research on the facility and less on like the history of breakouts.
Okay.
Because I knew I was going to break some of the laws of normal human ability with my breakout. But I found all kinds of interesting things about like other islands in the Hudson Bay.
Right.
Some have some really cool like old abandoned buildings, and I found I went down the rabbit hole on like the treatment of inmates. And
oh yeah?
Yeah. Like,
is Rikers still operating?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Is it Alcatraz? That's okay.
That's California.
Okay. But still it's an island prison, right?
Yeah.
Why is Rikers in operation and Alcatraz isn't? What's the difference?
There's 11,355 people as of 2009 in Rikers prison. In the Rikers Island prison.
What gets you? Is it still a pre-trial thing?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can Google it.
I'm telling you, like, people don't like serve their sentence there.
Well, sure. Well, 11,000 people are there. That's a lot of people.
Well, they have to get fielded out to other prisons
awaiting sentencing. That's so. But why use an
Sometimes
island?
it can be really long, like from my understanding.
Is it because New York City is an island, and they're like, well, we have nowhere else? I mean,
probably.
Population in New York City, 11,000 is a rounding error on the population of New York City, right? How many? 13, 15 million people? How many million people live in New York City? I was just awaiting Autumn, the computer, to answer my question.
Computer.
How many? I had all confidence that Autumn.
8,419,000.
Okay.
8.4 million.
In New York City.
Yeah, just in New York City. And I don't think that counts.
That wouldn't include like the Bronx.
No, it would include the Bronx because they're considered boroughs of New York City. Manhattan, Upper East Side, all that stuff would be considered New York City. And then what's 11,000 divided by 8 million? Okay, because 10% of 8 million would be 80,000?
10% would be 800,000.
0.0013.
0.001. So 1/10 of 1%.
Yes.
Yeah. See, 11,000 people in Rikers is a rounding error on the population of New York City. So it's very conceivable that everybody in New York City, because it's an island and there's limited places to put people, that's why they go to Rikers. Is it seen in the same way that getting locked up in Alcatraz is seen? And why is Alcatraz not running? Is it because they just have so much more room in California?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Well,
I'm pretty sure there's something wrong with Alcatraz, and that's why they don't use it.
Okay, but what does that mean? There's something wrong with it. Like it's got asbestos?
It was only in operation for 29 years.
Alcatraz?
Yes. It did not close because of the disappearance of Morris.
It closed because of what?
The institution was too expensive to continue operating. It just cost too much money.
Okay. They're like, California's huge. We have a lot of places to stick people. We're done with Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, because you'd have to like.
Well, Alcatraz is
supplies
literally, you has to be accessed by water, whereas Rikers Island has like a bridge.
Oh,
that goes
really?
there. Yeah.
Oh, that definitely changes it. It is.
However, 3 people did disappear off of Alcatraz shortly before it closed.
And then never were found again.
I'm guessing.
On that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's fake?
No, they were asking us to get out. The theories.
And so it's true? 3 people really did? Okay. Are those the only 3 people that ever escaped?
I don't know.
I feel like
Jeez.
I feel like I saw a documentary on it a long time
Gosh.
ago. I don't remember.
People
You know,
escaped
Let's go
Alcatraz.
down the street and ask them.
Rachel's the one who
Only
encouraged
one
me.
group has managed to successfully break out of Alcatraz in the 30-year history. Out of 36 people who attempted to escape, 23 were caught, 6 were shot and killed, and the others drowned.
Ouch. So how many? 1?
23 were caught,
Right.
so plus 6 that were shot and killed is 29. And then it says the others were drowned.
So
And
nobody
only 3
escaped.
people successfully
So
escaped.
3 people.
So 3. Okay.
Yeah. In the history of-
And have never been caught.
If they were successful.
I just want to know where these and what is in this that has a weight on it that never got shipped out. I think this is a hoodie.
Looks like it.
15.1 ounces. That's all I know about this package. There's a mystery hoodie in
Teacher
here.
is finding all kinds of things.
They sell a mystery hoodie. I don't even know what size it is.
Oh my goodness.
Give it to you for $35. Does anybody on Pop Shop want a mystery hoodie for $35? I can do that. I don't even know what's in there. If you want a hoodie weighing 15.9 ounces, you could probably look up what size that is. I bet if you go on like Bella or independent trading
They are on
companies,
the wanted list still.
they're still on the wanted list?
Yes, they are still on the FBI's most wanted list.
That's what about the people from Rikers? Are they there too? The ones that disappeared?
Are the Rikers.
Look, you're the one that's like, we can't be done talking. And then we went down this rabbit hole because you kept me.
But now you want the history of like all prison escapes.
Well, because
like,
you're
where
like-
are we gonna go to next? Like Iowa State Prison right down the street.
I want to go tour the IS. Have you toured that inside there?
I want to.
I want
heard
to
it's
go.
haunted.
Oh, that's creepy.
Field trip.
I'm sure it is.
You're sure it's haunted?
Oh yeah.
Why
Okay.
would I not be haunted?
You know why they built new prisons? Because people escaped from that current one or the old one.
The what in Iowa? You mean down the street?
Yeah, the one down the street.
Well, let's go.
What's the name?
Company field trip.
One of you should all schedule a time for us to go down there. I'm into that.
All right.
Are you allowed to stream that?
Rikers escapees.
What do you need?
Rikers, are they on the most wanted? That'd be crazy. All right, so for everyone who's new, I attempted to wrap up the book talk, and then Rachel was like, "But wait, you haven't asked me enough questions." So I started asking her questions about her when she claimed to have researched Rikers prison.
Yeah, I researched Rikers Prison.
Yeah.
Not, what are the
Someone
it's-
escaped in 2021
See,
from Rikers.
see, just last year somebody escaped from
that
Rikers.
was after I read.
Happens all the time.
Okay.
Wendy's breakout is so
Yes,
so
but
predictable.
considering how high profile she is, right? They would have, particular interest in
keeping her there.
keeping her there because if she gets out, I mean, that's bad juju for like everybody.
Isn't it bad
Right, 'cause-
juju if anybody gets out
Well,
of
sure,
Rikers?
but it's probably a lot less likely to be noticed.
They're like, oops, a random prisoner, unnamed, escaped from
Anyway,
Rikers prison.
so lots of research. Rikers Prison.
None
There's
of
lots
which-
of the prison corruption is through the roof.
Oh, is that how people escape?
I don't know if that's the case, but I know that it's particularly for women in prison.
Is it a co-ed prison?
Yeah, well, yeah. There's women's unit, and then there's like men. There's separate facilities
All
on
right.
Rikers for women
All
and
right.
men.
Women and men.
Rosie's. It's called Rosie's.
Rosie's is the name of the wing
Women's.
for women.
Yeah,
Okay,
the women's, not the wing, the facility.
the facility. Well, sweet. All right, so before my phone dies, because we got the 10% warning, we all know we're on a.
You can stop asking questions now if you want.
Yeah, clearly, because if I ask any more, we're going to find out that there are no answers to my questions. Only Google can answer my questions.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it was quite a while ago. I know I looked at extensively, and I was surprised that it was available. Was Google Earth, like being able to look up?
You're all
close.
like, how would I escape?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I did. Like,
All right.
how would I get?
You
out
didn't
of this
just look
place?
up the escapes? Do they tell you?
Oh, I'm sure that I did, but
That's a good way to get yourself on a wanted list.
Oh yes, type it. Hey, Tabby.
Escape.
Tabby.
But I'm sure I'm not the only person who's written a book of somebody trying to escape from Rikers.
Have you?
I don't-
There's probably a book called Escape from Rikers. I bet. Somebody Google that. I bet there's a book called Escape from Rikers. I know we have kids everywhere this show,
Sorry, guys.
Tabby, because we had an episode with our 12-year-old and it resulted in
He's apparently still having a meltdown.
still having.
Refused to babysit.
So now we're covered in children, young
There's
children.
literally a book named How to Break Out of Prison.
All right, there you go.
Wait, is that available in prison libraries? That would be hilarious.
No, it's available on Amazon though.
Wow, what is it available on Amazon? Can you order a tank on?
$4.75.
Can you get a tank on Amazon?
I don't know. Look.
Yeah, an old Russian tank. But
Let's hope that this doesn't get us.
oh, he's huge.
Yes.
The kid's a monster. My mom can't even like stand and hold him because he weighs so much. And Tishray's a monster too. Tishray's like 95th percentile for his.
Say hi.
Tabby, I know what you're getting in your next subscription. I know what you're getting. And it's brand new and no one's ever seen it. So I'm excited for that to go out. I tried to harass Autumn today to get her to send it out.
Oh, Tishrey, you're making a mess.
Oh, okay. We should probably wrap up. The natives are getting restless. Oh, yay! I'm so glad you love it. I keep trying to get these other folks to show to give more people the info on the subscription services. Conventions are so busy. It's so hard to, and I feel like no one ever remembers to get them out of the miscellaneous box. But I'm excited. And if you ever need stuff for your, because somebody told me through the grapevine, Tabby, that you rip cards now, that you actually rip Pokemon cards as one of the things that you do on Pop Shop. So if you ever need some Pokemon stuff for Pop Shop, you just let me know and we would happily wholesale cool Pokemon stuff. I just made a new large of Ghost Starters because I went in the box this weekend in Texas and realized we didn't have a single Ghost Starters large. I love my Ghost types. Ghost types are my favorite. Yeah, absolutely. You just let me know, Tabby. We're here to support everyone's Pokemon habit because Pokemon are cool. And now there's a whole new generation. We already did the starters for the new generation.
I have them in the shop if anyone else sees them.
Shot. That's Heimerdinger.
Tishrey has some.
You have them
around here.
You have them in the shop?
Yeah, they're in the shop. Hold on.
Okay, we're gonna show off the brand new Pokemon starters.
Well, then I'm gonna clean up this mess.
Yeah, go for it. Rachel, thank you very much for joining us and for writing Xavier. It is. I think what's so amazing. Do you feel like? I mean, for sure, the fact that you wrote in third. Did that feel weird to write in third person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Felt so disconnected.
Yeah. So were you excited then when you finally sat down to write Soraya? You're like, oh, thank heavens.
I had played with the idea of doing that one in third person as well.
No.
But at the end of the day, I was like,
Oh, that's
she's
cool.
too important of a character.
Which one's cool?
All of them. I guess the fire starter.
That's Fukuoka.
The water. That sounds like you're cussing. Why would they name a Pokemon Fukuoka? That just seems like they're gonna get themselves.
You can't dump it.
Fuego and Coco.
What?
Coco's crocodile in Spanish, or like part of the sword and form.
Oh, that's cool. Are they involving like different languages now in the?
Yeah, this one's all Latin American.
Oh, that's so cool. I do love that. I feel like
That one's Sprigatito.
the world is like woke now, right? Like it's been neat to see. We belong to a worldwide church, but it's been neat to see. The other day I was listening to something and they were talking about where something was in the United States. And I was like, because if you're going to have a worldwide audience, then it makes sense that you would have to explain where something was in the U.S. You can't just assume that everybody's American. So it's cool. It's good to see. Well, Tabby, if you need me to add any of these, or if you want to on Friday, if you want to come hang out on Friday, I know we're gonna start with socks on Friday, but obviously we're gonna venture into other territory on Friday. I already said in the preview video that if folks want other things, oh my gosh, how do I get? There we go. Did you see all the new socks, Rachel? There's like all sorts of new socks.
Sure that you're always very excited to it.
Yes, I love socks. I wear them every day. I wear them to sleep. I love winter. I never take socks off.
It's like thing that everybody wears.
Yes, yes, yes. Come feed your sock addiction, and we'll definitely add the new. We could always vote too to see. Oh my gosh, when is this game out? When is the new?
November?
Oh, it's not even till November.
It's sometime this year.
Oh man, we are
okay.
so ahead of the curve.
When
Do we know what these evolutions look like, or we don't?
No, they only tease
The starters. Yeah.
Starters.
Yep. They said.
2022 is the only time that they say it's coming. It's coming later this year.
Okay.
Pokemon game releases usually get released right before Thanksgiving, so sometime in November.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, Tabby said November, probably November. Yeah. So if somebody, I guess we can vote on Friday as to what you all would like to see for the starters as far as shirts go.
If it is not the Ghost Pepper Crocodile, I swear.
The Ghost Pepper Crocodile, is that what he looks like? He looks like a Ghost
Coco?
Pepper? Or that was because it's from Latin America and that was the intent?
No, there is a Latin America white Ghost Pepper that people are thinking that he is
Based off
of
a white Ghost Pepper. Put them all on one? Well, so I guess the issue with that, Tabby, is I wish I had unlimited resources to put. We could always do customs, but I never know. Like, it's so scary to commit, $1,000 to a run of shirts. What if nobody cares? I guess that's probably unrealistic to think that no one would care. Maybe we should just. I should probably just close my eyes, Tabby. If I close my eyes, Tabby, and made all 3 on shirts, would you buy all 3 on shirts? Maybe I just need your courage, and then I can do it. And then I'll just, yes, I would. Okay. Well, I guess if it's worth it just for you, as long as I put a smile on your face, I can spend $3,000 as long as it makes Tabby happy. There probably are other people.
Oh yeah, there's already stickers and all kinds of stuff on it.
Yeah, starter, they are super popular. That's true. Are these named? Tell me these are named in the store on Eric's shop.
That's a good question.
All right, so I'll be turning these over to Autumn so she can throw those in Eric's site tonight.
I know that they're on there. I just don't know if they're named accurately.
Okay. All right. So I will. I'll see what I can do. I'll do some more research. Is he really orange? Oh, geez.
Yeah, he's like an orange red.
That just dropped. Like a burnt orange, or is he?
Give me a second.
Maybe we can actually get burnt orange now. For a while, it was so hard to get burnt orange shirts. Yeah, and I feel like it's not like there's one Grookey. I can see one Grookey over there, and I can actually see some Sobble. But I feel like I reprinted Sobble.
You have.
And I feel like Score Bunny is still. Do people only get excited about the new starters, and like once the new generation comes out, everyone's like, those other guys are lame, and it's like Gen 1 and then the current generation? Or
no, because my favorite is Chikorita.
Your favorite? I thought your favorite was Piplup.
Well, yeah, okay, Piplup and Chikorita are my 2 favorite.
I've
actually never played with Piplup as my starter. I just love penguins, so that like my love for penguins goes into
Gotcha.
But, like the generation that I played, Chikorita was my favorite.
I gotcha. I love Piplup because I love Empoleon. I have definitely used Empoleon a lot in my life, so I like Piplup for that reason. Well, sweet. Thanks everybody for joining us. I'm gonna probably say goodnighty before my phone dies. Yes. So, John, Funimation has not merged with Crunchyroll. Sony bought Funimation, and then later Sony bought Crunchyroll. And the Crunchyroll brand worldwide is stronger than the Funimation brand. And so they're just simply going to eliminate the Funimation brand, and they're going to keep the Crunchyroll brand. So there really isn't a merger because Sony bought each one of them independently. A merger would be if two companies agree that they, like Sirius XM is a merger, because it was clear that satellite radio would die if the only two companies in satellite radio didn't merge, and so that would be a true merger. Texaco and Chevron, I think, is another example of a merger. Chevron and Texaco are now, there are both Chevron and Texaco gas stations that exist in America, but it's all the same company because they merged. So that would be how to explain what happened on a corporate basis. From Crunchyroll was just simply a stronger brand. It would be like if somehow a company managed to buy both Wendy's and Burger King to compete against McDonald's, right? So McDonald's would be the number one, Burger King would be number two, and Wendy's would be number three in terms of volume. And so if somebody wanted to like try to take McDonald's number one position, they could merge Wendy's and Burger King and then choose to eliminate one of the two brands. That would be an example of a merger if that happened. I don't see that happening because they all do pretty.
Wendy's has dethroned Burger King, by the way.
Have they really?
Yes.
That's intense, bro. I can't even tell you the last time I went to a Wendy's.
Oh, I would much rather go to Wendy's over Burger King.
During one of like last November or December.
They have better. Well, you don't eat fries, but they have better fries.
But
and the meat is
I don't know that they even have a vegetarian option.
oh,
I
fries.
would think they do, but
They have some salads you can check it off.
no, man, nobody. That's anyone who suggests a vegetarian eat a salad is not a vegetarian.
I do love their salads, by the way.
Okay,
They do actually have pretty decent salads, but I
Okay.
would tell a vegetarian person.
but I don't.
So-
Vegetarians don't eat salad. Like I hate to break it to everybody, but that's not what vegetarians eat. We eat good food made of vegetables.
You're
Salads
vegetarian.
are pedestrian.
You're vegetarian light.
Yes, I'm a public vegetarian because at home I can eat my grass-fed beef. Eat my beef.
All right.
And at BurgerFi, I can eat my grass-fed beef.
Oh man, I want to go to Burger Fi so bad. Oh,
No
I want to
way.
go to Burger Fi.
Rowlett is in my top, and he is in one of the middle. You know what's funny? Eob the other day, Tabby also declared his love for Rowlett, and that generation just got released in Pokemon Go.
I like Rowlett too. I just that was like the first Pokemon game I played as an adult.
Is that Gen 7?
Yes.
7.
Yes.
All right.
Because 8 is Sobble and Proki, or not Proki.
Grookey, Sobble, and Scorbunny. Scorbunny. That's
All right, I'm out of here.
Go's buddy starter.
Bye.
All right, have a good night on them. Just so you know, I'm putting these on your desk so that
Do not put Sprigatito on my desk because that one is in there already. And
is Sprigatito the grass starter?
Yes.
Because that sounded like a grass name.
Yes.
So
I'll put Quaxley and
Quaxley.
Quaxley.
It's
It's Quauxly.
that's
Quaxley.
funny. Quaxley.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's Donald Duck.
No,
Kind of.
but it is a French
Yeah.
duck.
Yeah.
It looks like a duck with a beret on.
Spain would make sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
I could see that. The
Yeah.
beret and the
Well,
Spanish hat. I mean,
s-
Spain and France
are very
neighbors.
close together, and there's
They're-
a lot of
Yeah.
South American countries that have ties to both.
Oh yes, France and
Brazil.
Spain colonized the world, along with the British, enslaved a lot of people.
Wait.
Oi!
All of my prints that I did today have been submitted for approval.
Whoop whoop!
I did not do any of the apparel.
Ooh.
I know.
All right. Tomorrow we'll start out with some mock-ups for some long sleeve. We're getting some Assassin's Creed apparels approvals. We're doing all sorts of Assassin's Creed coming up. J-Rod collectibles. That makes more sense.
But
It
I
could
just
be
wanted to let
Jared.
you know where I left it so that I didn't like leave.
No, that's good. And I will mock up some more.
Maybe tomorrow you can show me like the process of like how to easily put in a submission for apparel because there's different things that you have to like click.
Cool. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Cool.
All right. Have a great night.
Yeah, because I was flying through those submissions once I actually got to sit down. on them.
Yes. And once I finally logging in is that's what keeps me from everything. Like that's literally it is a login. Logins have kept me from much success in life.
It took longer to upload the pictures into the approval process than it was for me to fill out all the information.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, it's not a terrible system. It's just that I literally can never remember the username and password, and I hate passwords with all my heart, and so that's what keeps me from submitting approvals. But now that I have someone else that we can, yeah, like, thank you for your help.
Of course.
Huge help. Let's get some Assassin's Creed apparel approved so we can light the world on fire, because there's some really cool art in Assassin's Creed. And we're going to try to do some For Honor. Does anyone play For Honor? That is a cool, let's see, Dragon Ball Super has a new movie. Are you a Dragon Ball fan, John? I have not. I find that if I get like a 5, 6, 7, 8 episode head start, then I don't mind Dragon Ball Z. But I definitely, it's literally almost last on my list when I think about what I'm going to watch. And thank you for the follow. Yo, thank you for the follow, J-Rod. All right. Well, if you all are good, our book talks are really literally talking about the books. If you don't want to start all the way at the beginning, feel free to jump into Dreamworld. Literally, Aaron, who owns the marketing firm that we work with full time, jumped straight into Dreamworld and kind of tested the theory that fans could start with this book. Never felt lost for a single minute. Freaking loves it. Wants to continue reading the rest of the series, and so proof positive that you can absolutely jump right into Dreamworld and be happy with the series. And then this week's book talk, which if you missed it, if you jumped in late and when you get to this point in the series, you can head to our YouTube channel. All of our social media is at Colorworld Books, and you could hear Rachel and I talk about the different things that happen. And then next week, I am almost halfway through Soraya, and this will be next week's book talk. It'll happen on Tuesday or Wednesday. I have to look at the calendar. I feel like every time we schedule it for Tuesday, we end up bumping it to Wednesday. So apologies to anybody who was looking forward to book talk Tuesday and ended up on book talk Wednesday. We will be streaming on Friday. I can't remember, but it is. If you give us a follow, you should be alerted both when we're about to go live and then when we do go live. If you want to be on our email list to be let known when things happen. I'm sure my phone's going to die like right as we're doing this. To be on the email list, email us at moderator at colorworldbooks.com. Well, yeah, I had to let everybody know, like, when's the next time we're going to see us live, and what do they need to do if they're not getting updates, and how do they get on the, there is a place on colorworldlive.com where you can subscribe, I think, to the to be on the mailing list. So I know that exists, but I can never remember how to get to that. But I know that if you intentionally want to be on the email list, you can email us moderator@colorworldbooks.com, and then have no fear. We will take that information and then put you on the email list so that you don't miss anything. Man, now we got low battery warnings on the phone and the computer. Is there anything that you don't have time tomorrow? Today's Wednesday, that you don't have time Friday or Saturday and you want me to show you? I guess we could. Does anybody want me to take a walk around the shop, or is everyone? Let me see what we're up against. Oh man, do I have a pickup order? I don't know what that red dot is. Man, I have no idea. Now there's a new percentage completion. I'm going to have to look into oh my goodness. That's so weird. You would think if there's all right, I'll have to look into. Hey, Rebecca, what's up? Taylor, welcome in. Let me know, folks, if you are wanting me to walk around the shop. we are, Rachel's done, probably has her eye on dinner right now in terms of we had to stream with the two babes today. Our 12-year-old had a meltdown. Kayla, welcome in. Kayla. Da 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 da. All right. If you all are good, let me know. If not, I can easily take you around the shop and show you some other things. I only have a few bookmarks and then the book series listed in the catalog because today is book talk and we're streaming. We talked. Well, Soraya's next week. We actually talked Xavier today. Mom, who won the next game in the ACC?
I don't know.
Oh, you didn't. He didn't watch.
It wasn't Duke.
No,
They play
Duke
tomorrow.
doesn't play till tomorrow.
No, I'm not watching.
You didn't want to know who's TBD?
Who what?
Who your TBD is?
Yeah, who is it?
I don't know. That's why you watch.
Don't worry.
It might be. You might know now. I think Oregon State is on now. So I think after I get off the streaming, I'll be checking out my Ducks in the Pac-12 tournament. I hope it goes better than Florida State. Florida State got waxed today by 40 points. It's been a really long time since a Florida State basketball team has lost that badly. It's kind of terrible. I feel bad for my boys. All right, well, I will, if there's apparel you want me to put into the catalog, I can. If there is more metal you want me to put into the catalog, I can. You all let me know what you want to do with our last remaining time together. Let's see. Some lounge pants. Pickle Rick. We're going to be doing socks on. Socks are going to be the focus on Friday. If you are a sock person, we will definitely walk around the shop on Friday so that you all can see. Mark's been getting working kind of around the clock while he's here to get everything ready so that we can take you around the shop on Friday. Let's see. We'll throw some bookmarks in there in case you all. Boom. Let me know if you want to see some of the metal bookmarks up close. I know that my phone and my laptop are careening towards 0 battery life. That will probably officially mark the end of the show. Harley. Ooh, Eraserhead, Stitch. These are all some good ones. We'll add those to the show. There you go. Boom. All Might Cave. All Might Casual Hero. Ahsoka Tano. That's a good bookmark. Jinx. Is anybody watching? Oh my gosh. Arcane. Is anyone watching the Arcane series on Netflix? That was very good. I like that quite a bit. We've had a Jinx for years because she's a fan favorite for I mean, it's no wonder that they actually started with Jinx's story in Arcane. She is a wildly popular character. For sure. Oh, there's the Batman. All right. We'll add those into the show. All right, sweet. Well, if you all are good, then I'm good. I'm going to go see what's at the house for dinner. I've got some bookmarks in the show right now if you want to shop the catalog. If you want to see anything, there is a whole wall. There we go. There is a whole wall of metal. I guess we can bring you down to the next platform. There we go. So My Hero. The Attack on Titan. Is anyone watching season 4? Let's see. Is that in the frame? Yeah, it's kind of at the bottom of the frame though. You could do this. Oh man. There you go. I think Attack on Titan is in frame. Yeah. There we go. Attack on Titan bookmarks in frame. All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. Oh, you want to see what the shop looks like, John? So this is what we've got. There's, let's see, how do I keep that straight? There we go. Tons and tons and tons of metal bookmarks. And then there's the print wall. And then in terms of like other stuff around the shop, we are getting ready for the sock show, John. You can see all of the many, you can see the clipboard Mark's using to get all the apparel ready. Ooh. This table is ready to go. So there you go. There's a good look, John, at the stuff. Have you ever joined us on Pop Shop, John? That's a cool platform. It's kind of like seeing us at a convention. Being on Pop Shop is like seeing us at a convention, and then as we list items, you can just grab them and then we, throw them in packaging and get them out to you. We ship super fast on Pop Shop. Try to have sometimes we can ship it out same day, depending on when we stream. You should check it out if you've got. I think it's still just iPhone. I don't know 100% for sure, but for sure, if you've got an iPhone, you can download the Pop Shop Live app. And it is a very, very cool experience. Good community too. A lot of fun people. It's like being at a convention. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. All my devices are dying and have red battery lights on them. So I'm going to get some other things off my desk, and we will see you on Pop Shop Live on Friday for Free Shipping Friday. And we'll see you next week for Book Talk.